Teacher accused of making out with 11-year-old wants to be around kids again. Former teacher accused of making out with an 11-year-old child wants a Wisconsin court to allow her to be around children again. The latest information about Madison Bergmann will make your skin crawl. Well, court documents reveal new details about a 24-year-old elementary school teacher's push to have her charges of first-degree child sexual assault thrown out and to modify her bond conditions to maybe allow her to be around kids. Let's think about that for a second. Madison Bergmann. She was a 5th-grade teacher at Rivercrest Elementary School in Hudson, Wisconsin. She was fired after allegations arose that she had kissed an 11-year-old boy multiple times and made sexual advances toward him over the phone. For now, Bergmann is out on a $25,000 signature bond, reportedly staying at her grandparents' farm, seemingly trying to stay in hiding. This is according to the New York Post. Now, she was supposed to get married over the summer, but as I think you can imagine, it seems the wedding was abruptly called off. And here's the thing. As part of her bond, Bergmann is barred from being anywhere that children are present. And she appears now to want to change that. Because after all, children are in restaurants, children are in stores, they're all over the place. And according to the New York Post, court documents reveal that her attorneys are trying to get the case not only thrown out, but at the very least, have Bergmann's bond conditions modified. Her attorney reportedly stated that she wants to be able to go places to eat out and go shopping. The problem is children might be in that area. So here's what court records state about her bond quote. It is hereby ordered as a condition of the defendant's bond bail in the above caption case that he or she have absolutely no contact whatsoever with the complaining witness or with any of the following named persons and/or locations: victim or any other person under the age of 18 or any student at Rivercrest Elementary School. The term no contact is hereby defined as no contact in person, by telephone, by way of electronic device, email, for similar social media, including but not limited to texting, Facebook, Twitter, contact through the mail, and/or through a third person. So Bergmann is allowed to have contact with a few minor age family members, but under the supervision of another adult. But she has all these other conditions. John Clune, a sex abuse attorney out of Colorado, said, it's disturbing on a number of levels. But the thing that kind of stands out to me is, I think as parents, we have the sense that, if we do the right things, if we make some good choices for our kids, we supervise them properly, there's probably a pretty good chance that we can keep them from being abused or by somebody, that may be seeking harm. But this is something that has happened in the classroom while your child's 11 years old with a female teacher. Just one of those things that reminds you that, it's really hard to prevent everything possible that could happen to your kids. Because this one's kind of a little bit, out of left field. If I was the kid's parent, we'll talk about those allegations in a minute. I want to get to this new development with the bond order. Look, these are incredibly serious accusations, an incredibly serious crime that she's charged with. So I understand why the bond order is so restrictive, but is it too restrictive? Should it be revised? I mentioned everywhere. There's children everywhere, and it's essentially keeping her from public places. And is that too restrictive? Yeah, this is something that judges, have to struggle with on a lot of these cases, because you have somebody who's not convicted of anything. You have somebody who's presumed to be innocent, and yet, the meaning of this bond is to make sure that the actual defendant is successful on bond, but B, that you're protecting the community. And so something like, not being able to go to restaurants, not being able to go to stores, that's probably something the judge is going to ultimately find to be, not something that needs to be a priority. For this defendant at this point in her life, given the charges that she's facing, I don't know that it's overly restrictive. I understand why it can be frustrating when you're presumed to be innocent, but they're really designed to help both the defendant and the community. I think that one of the things that could be helpful about this motion is for her to get some clarity from the judge and to hear from the judge to say, look, I'm not saying that you have to live at the farm for the entire time while this case is going on, But it's your responsibility to not be in place where you expect kids to be. If you does a kid that comes into your area, that's more than just walking past you. Maybe that's where you have the obligation to remove yourself from that. Okay, I want to talk to you about some of the allegations according to the criminal complaint. It's our understanding that this 11-year-old boy's parents found out about this alleged abuse when his mover heard him talking on the phone with Bergmann, and the family had apparently known Bergmann. She had accompanied them on Ascot. Had the boy's number in case they all got separated on the trip. Not clear why exactly Bergmann was invited on the trip, but she alleges that the boy called her an excuse that we often see from alleged sexual predators, right? Trying to put the impetus on the victim, the minor victim, that the victim came on to them first. Saw them overheard this conversation. She's suspicious. The parents check the boy's phone. They find all sorts of explicit texts. Bergmann allegedly discusses multiple encounters between the two of them in her classroom during lunch or after school. She allegedly told him how much she enjoyed making out with him. That's not disgusting to think about. And the boy's dad ended up printing out pages and pages of texts and took them to the school to confront the administration, and Bergmann was arrested on May 2nd, charged with first-degree child sexual assault. It's a reminder that both the dangers of technology, but also the fact that a lot of times these cases are made very strongly on the basis of messages just like that. And the victim, this 11-year-old, did a forensic interview, allegedly told police that Bergmann would rub his thigh in calves during independent reading time in class. And because of the position of his death, the victim says he didn't think any of the other kids could see what was happening. I always think about the victims in these cases. I think about how difficult it must be for them to share that information, to even process what was happening to an 11-year-old. Do you even know what's going on? But how difficult also must be for investigators to get that information out of an 11-year-old. Yeah, you're so young at the age of 11, and it sounds like part of the move in these allegations is that she gave him the impression that he was in trouble. He would made him may have been vulnerable to start with, but it becomes more vulnerable by feeling like he's in trouble with the teacher, and so wanting to go along with, whatever he needs to do to get out of trouble with his teacher. This is going to be a hard thing for this kid to recover from. He certainly can, and he can going to have a good life, but this is a tough deal for an 11-year-old boy. And the school district says that it is cooperating with police who are working on Bergmann's case. The Hudson School Superintendent Nicolette updated the school board about the situation during a May meeting. The superintendent said that 2 teachers resigned in connection with these allegations. The other was also a 5th-grade teacher. And according to school sources who spoke with the New York Post, this other teacher might have known what was going on and didn't report it. She has not been charged with any crime. If she knew about it and she didn't report it, she should be. Those teachers are all mandatory reporters for child abuse or neglect that happens to a kid under the age of 18. And so, it depends on what information she had and what she did or didn't do with it. But if it shows that she knew about it and didn't do anything, then absolutely she should be charged with it. She's accused of is absolutely horrifitous, there's no doubt about it. However, as we said, like any criminal defendant, she has a right to fight the case against her, to make legal arguments to try to get the case thrown out. And since as she's attempting to dismiss the case, the New York Post reported that her colleagues are upset about that. One teacher said, quote, "It's ridiculous. She has left a wake of the at the school, and she thinks she shouldn't face the consequences for that." So what is your take on it in terms of, is it wrong that she's fighting this? Should she just accept the responsibility of what happened? Alright everybody, that's all we have for you right now here on my channel. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, please subscribe. Be to you next.